Hello and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks, and I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI. And we are heading into very, very exhilarating times for the Arizona State football program on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Practice was wrapped up about 4 hours ago, but we have a lot to talk about as the Sun Devils drop from number 11 to number 12 in week 2 of the AP poll. They rose to number 10 in the coaches poll, but dropped a spot in the AP poll in favor of the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Illinois Fighting Illini, who both jumped them. But this week is a new week. The Northern Arizona game is behind them. It was a convincing win. The game was never in doubt. It was just a little more messy operationally than Coach Dillingham or anybody else involved in the program would have liked. But the team is moving forward, and now Mississippi State is at the front of mind, and they have a massive, massive game in Starkville on Saturday afternoon. Obviously, the game starts, I believe, 4:30 Arizona time, and it's going to be a challenging game. That's really all I have to say right now before we touch into some of the happenings of Tuesday's practice. Um, Obviously, the Bulldogs were voted to finish last in the SEC. They're being slept on by some, but they still, at the end of the day, have SEC speed. They have a capable quarterback in Blake Shapen, and Jeff Lebby's offense has potential to take off a little bit in year 2 of his tenure as head coach in Starkville. And today, we're going into another practice report for an episode of the Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And let's get started in that today. So I wanted to touch upon the fact that the Washington Commanders and the San Francisco 49ers were both in attendance in terms of sending scouts to the facility to watch practice. Obviously, neither the Commanders nor the 49ers are in the market for a quarterback. So no Sam Levitt discussions today in terms of NFL futures, but Jordan Tyson will always be in the mix, or almost always be in the mix, as will a CJ Fight, a Xavion Alford, even Keyshawn Elliott, and the Sun Devils continue to get attention from the NFL in multiple facets, and that's just a testament to what Kenny Dillingham has built. I've said that time and time again. It reigns true every single time, and that's all I have to say about the scouts part of the show. And now I want to turn my attention to the simulation of what it will be like to play at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville. So when I arrived at practice, there was a ringing sound of cowbells that I could hear from the parking lot heading into the practice facility. They were simulating what it will sound like at Mississippi State on Saturday evening, Saturday night. And once they got into the Verde Dickey Dome, they were pumping crowd noise into the dome as well. And obviously 2 weeks ago, they were playing in very, very humid conditions, trying to prepare the team for the game in Starkville and possibly in Waco, Texas as well. And that's just the heads-up nature of the Arizona State coaching staff. They're always thinking outside the box. They're always thinking ahead, and those might seem like cop-out answers or homerism when it comes to the coaching staff, but the ASU coaching staff, in my opinion, really is a step above almost everyone else in the nation. And now getting into some of my observations from practice. First, I wanted to start off by talking about Kamari Anderson. So according to Pro Football Focus, Kamari Anderson lined up at wide receiver, or where a wide receiver would line up typically at the line of scrimmage, on 10 plays for Arizona State in today's victory over NAU. The tight end transfer from Kentucky had a quiet game. He didn't reel in a catch, but he's been impressive in practice. There is an obvious connection between him and Sam Levitt, And that connection continued on Tuesday. He reeled in probably the most impressive catch of all of practice, a one-handed grab over the shoulder, and he came right back the next play and hauled in another catch on the sideline. It'll be interesting to see how Kamari Anderson is used on Saturday, but he is obviously very, very highly thought of inside of the Arizona State locker room and by the coaching staff. We shall see what his role is. I wanted to talk about Kanye Udo. Kanye Udo only took 2 carries in Saturday's victory, and he caught 1 pass, 25 total yards of scrimmage. Obviously, compared to 75 rushing and 73 receiving for Kyson Brown, or 70 other way around, 145 total yards all-purpose from Kyson Brown, and a rushing touchdown and 49 total yards from Malik Brown. Both of those guys were standouts. Kanye Udo did take a 1 carry for 19 yards out of his 2 carries. He continues to look more and more comfortable by the day in the Arizona State offense. And Coach Dillingham said on Monday that the goal is to give all 3 of them work in the offense as the season progresses. So we shall see what Udo's role is on Saturday. There's a very strong possibility that they just continue to roll with the Kyson Raleek dynamic duo. But there are potential matchups that Udo in particular can exploit very much, especially a matchup against a team like Utah or a team like Texas Tech. But time will do the talking. I'm just speculating right now. I wanted to talk about Jaron Hamilton. Jaron Hamilton did not play more than 1 snap on Saturday, and that is a very major surprise for me. Kenny Dillingham's explanation that Jalen Moss's injury threw rotations off is a valid one. I'm still surprised that Hamilton didn't see the field, though, in actuality. And he made a couple of impressive catches during practice. He took snaps with both the first team and the second team. And let's see what happens with the Alabama transfer in Saturday's game. And ultimately, the operation looks pretty smooth. Ben Coleman practiced the entirety of practice from my observation after he briefly left the game in the second half due to a minor ailment. Justin Watley, Jalen Moss, and Max Ianacor their statuses are still all up in the air, obviously. I can't speak on that. I don't know anything about it, and I probably won't know anything about it until later in the week. But that could throw a wrench in the game plan. I mean, it just is what it is there in that regard. Mississippi State's going to be a challenging game, and the Sun Devils look more than prepared for it based off of what I saw in practice on Tuesday. I'm obviously going to practice on Wednesday morning as well, and I will report what I hear from coaches and some of what I see as well. And it's going to be a battle. The Bulldogs are not to be taken lightly. They're a talented team. The Sun Devils still should prevail, but there is a question as to whether the Bulldogs have the ability to pull off the upset or not, or the Sun Devils could be up for a letdown after a Week 1 performance that was seen as underwhelming by some. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and goodbye.